But maybe I will like start at the very very beginning. Mostly too simple as I implied in like Polar. I mean Julius, Zah, and Simon know me from the previous campaign that we played around 5 to 6 years ago. And I don't know. Do you want me to like elaborate on some of the stuff I wrote? As a
I mean,
way
you
to
could tell him
introduce
about
myself, or
I mean, you could tell him about the time Julius one-shot that lich.
So, Matt here is Polish. He says he has bad English. The most that he does is forget certain words, which I get a lot from people that don't have English as a first language. Even my Japanese teacher does that. He has better English than a lot of Americans I've met.
I know, we've heard TikTok.
Quite rude.
yeah, to be fair, I think I might have gotten a little bit better over the years, but yeah, not a native English speaker, and yeah, sometimes I just forget words, but that's simple
Hell,
translation.
we forget
issue.
words, and like we're English, or at least American. Well, you know what I mean. Like it's our first language.
Hey, I forget who I am some days.
Apart from that, I don't think like this would be a problem at all, but just in case, like I know some of the groups had this issue of like Matt Mercer syndrome, what is called. So sadly, I am not Matt Mercer, despite Matt being my name. I'm also no Arcadum.
Mini Matt Mercer. What? The trade.
Which...
You have the same name as Matt. You're clearly just him in disguise.
Yes, obviously. Completely different accent and whatnot. But yeah, sadly I cannot promise great descriptions and good voice acting. I will try my best, and what I can promise out of all the things is that I thought about like what are my potentially strong points, and I think this is the one that I can agree is my determination to see the project and story reach its conclusion. It might not be a solid conclusion. Looking back at the previous campaign, I'm like, I definitely would have played it differently. The finale would be different, but I want to say that basically, if we go for this adventure, I will do everything in my power to see that adventure finished. And even if we'll have some breaks, I will have the determination to basically see it through, so that players might also have fun.
You got the, how do I say, the campaign to the end, which I've realized is rarer than I would expected when I got into this.
Yeah, we had a break that lasted like almost 2 months from the middle of November to the middle of January, and we still kept playing, which I don't think we've ever had a game survive that long of a break otherwise.
Yeah, there were two breaks. One, because after a storm, my internet provider just shut itself, and I didn't have internet for like well over a month, or maybe even longer. And the other break was that I played that previous campaign at the time when I was, I think, preparing to write my... wait, I need to look. It was either bachelor's or master's degree. Which one is lower on the hierarchy? You write
bachelor's.
Okay, so bachelor's.
That's the one I'm working on.
Yeah, bachelor's degree. And because of that, I also had to like take a longer like monthly break. But yeah, we continued playing despite all of that.
Quick question: will this session also go into YouTube?
Into what? I mean, as I've said in chat, I record my sessions, so that would be all right.
All right, that's all right with me.
Because I do recall, because I was like, oh, I forgot about something, and then I wrote in chat that yeah, I record my stuff. Nobody's watching it, so that's.
I go and watch them a couple times.
That's
every so
mostly
often.
for To be fair, that's mostly for archival purposes, because I sometimes also want to reminisce what I played in the past.
Mhm.
If you want, I can give you a link to his YouTube channel.
Oh no, you get to hear me from like 5 years back. Oh no.
Oh no,
Oh.
my old voice.
Oh no.
If it helps, Julius, you're even more of a power gamer now than you were.
Fuck you, Zach. Just because I got better doesn't mean I do it more.
I love how I wasn't. I was the only non-power gamer of our group.
To be fair, this is the campaign that I learned how to power game.
I mean, Oterus was my first character. I just spent way too much time googling feats. Um,
Yeah, to explain simple, like Otirus was a cavalier, and I don't remember he was cavalier with something. I essentially
Cavalier
had to.
paladin.
Yeah, I essentially had to. I managed to kill him only because I sicked 3 dragons on him.
And we weren't allowed to help. We had to fight
and
through it.
I almost got out too. Almost. Not really. That was
Yeah,
almost fun.
so Julius picked every feat that allowed him to go faster on his mount.
Nice.
So did we? I think we calculated how fast he would go in a miles per hour increments.
Well, I
But I
obviously
forgot-
don't have the calculations left, but it was very far.
Yeah, but about a small tangent that I think I also learned like from the previous campaign that essentially if there will be like very broken builds, and if because in terms of enemies, there will be enemies that will be like total mooks, just can be one-shotted because they cannot don't have to be strong, but some stronger enemies, even if they're like by the book stats, they won't have that many hit points. If I will see that they just getting also like one-shotted all the time, instead of like picking enemies with higher CR, I just gonna buff their hit points, because I think that's the solid compromise.
Yeah.
To be fair, I might like seek templates that, for example, like if there is like a orc village and I don't have time to create an orc war chief from the ground up, I just take basic orc and then apply like mighty template or something like that.
Speaking of templates, as much as I would love
Yeah,
be able
because
to use them,
if we have
I
5
agree
people,
with Julius that we should not use templates.
yeah, if we have 5 people, I wanted to say that there will be no templates because we already have 5-man party.
I mean, I would say even if there's only 3 people, don't do templates because they're very much like either abusable or just massively increases everyone's stats, like inflate stats, basically. I think rather than templates, just like allow everyone to do some like cool thematic shift in their character, like say like they have aura of fire or something like that, would do the thing you wanted to do without the the silliness of templates.
Yeah, I mean, sure, the templates won't be a thing. I mean, technically, the Eternal Soul could be counted as a template, but that's mostly for, well, purposes of playing the story, not telling the story, not playing the game. Okay, so regarding what I want to avoid, as I thought about it, I really do not want dedicated crafters, as in characters that would need a lot of time to downtime. Even if I know there are builds that allow you to craft a lot of stuff in like shorter amount of time. You can take certain feats or like wizard discoveries. I'm pretty sure several builds that make crafting viable. Crafting is one of the things that I want to leave to NPCs and treat though crafting NPC as a resource. I already made like a dwarven wizard based NPC, old dwarf. That's basically a crafter assigned to this expedition. So I would prefer that the party like doesn't go hard into crafting. To be fair, that's not to say that there won't be any downtime, even though overall myth arc of this campaign implies. I'm not sure how much I want to spoil, but let's say it won't be that you won't have any downtime or any time to rest, but it also won't be that you have like weeks of nothing to do. The intention is, and again, I don't know how I will be able to execute the idea, because theory is one thing and practice is another. But I will definitely try to like put a solid pace and like provide foreshadowing from the start, implying that there's like what's going on, and that, well, you'll have to be not prudent, but what's the word I'm looking for? You cannot like dilly-dally. It's not exactly what I'm going for, but I cannot think of any other word. So that's one thing.
Terry.
Another thing is that I definitely, and I will not budge on this, I do not want leadership feed. I do not want to deal with NPC followers, like leadership cohorts. I want none of that. Because D20 battles, because there might be large battles with a lot of enemies, and adding even more stuff to that, like allied NPCs, followers, will just bloat this extremely. So I do not want leadership.
Does that mean no animal companions or
Animal companions are fine,
or
because that's the class feature for druid and the other classes. So that's the inherent part of your class. Well, assuming you take unless you take a different archetype, that means you do not have a animal companion.
Oh no, quite the opposite. I'm a Beastmaster Ranger.
Oh dear. How many animal companions are you going with? Simon?
Well, it's too early to tell yet.
You should stack that with Master Summoner. Get a bunch of idle ones too.
So if you get more than a couple animal companions, you really need to plan your turns ahead. You can't just go like start thinking about what you need to do with like more than one character.
Yeah, because like I imagine all of you are like, I know like all of our experience, so we know that D20 battles can be long, and I think you still remember. I would have played it differently. I think you remember that battle we did with the
there's
giants.
no giant battle.
Yeah.
Was that before Ultimate Combat came out?
I think it was around the same time.
I have absolutely no idea. I only know I just didn't want to like switch it how I ran it in the middle, but after I've run it, and then after some time I thought, yeah, I definitely would have run it differently. And this is how I'm gonna be doing this right now, because this is, you are in a fleet, like explorers. So obviously there will be NPCs to help you, to be used as a resource, but the way I will try to approach this, instead of having NPCs in the same fight as you, so having to track their tokens, what they can do, instead what I will try to go for is that, okay, you have these NPCs as resource, so let's say NPCs make another team, they attack from different side, we don't see the fight, we don't have to track the fight on turn order and with all of that stuff, but they act as a resource, because if they attack, they can take a part of, they can distract enemy force, they can like basically mean that you fight with, for example, half of the enemy camp instead of the whole camp.
Yes.
That's what I'm going for.
Yes. Also, if you wanna do it, you could like give us a couple of action, like they can shoot a barrage at a place, or like shoot a shot or something like that. Could work as well. Make us feel like we're commanding someone.
Yeah, but still, that falls under like this principle of using them as a resource, not having them actually in combat.
Yes, very much.
Yes, another thing, it's not like I wrote I do not want, but I would say that it's not like I do not want, but I don't think dedicated diplomancers would be like right in this setting, in this fiction, in this place. It's not like it won't be completely useless, but I definitely it will be impossible to solve all of your problems through talking and diplomancing the natives, because small spoiler alert, this region you're exploring was unexplored and new to you, but that doesn't mean there wasn't anyone living there already.
Well, guess we're colonizing America.
Yeah, so it's like you can put some ranks in diplomacy if you want, but I would definitely not put too much focus on being a diplomancer.
All right.
What else? Because there are still some things.
Did we agree on using like homebrewed monsters or animals?
Not yet. We'll get to that in just a moment.
All right.
Okay, speaking of characters. Oh, actually, no, sorry. Speaking of characters and skills, because I mentioned diplomacy before. Another thing that I would really appreciate is that I would appreciate if you didn't make characters that can pull off at level 2 like plus 40 to sneak stealth checks. I would really appreciate that.
I don't see how that would be possible, but all right.
I'm pretty
It's
sure
possible.
it is. That's why I'm asking.
It's possible. Trust me.
It definitely is.
Especially I'm throwing like sneak because it can be so abused, like because you have so much sneak, you can just add enemies at your CR, they have only so much bonus to perception, so at some point it becomes essentially impossible for them to notice, which would force me to either start giving them like not fake, but essentially force me to give them like, I don't know, from somewhere fucking additional ranks to perception, or not ranks, sorry, bonuses to perception.
I mean,
or start giving them I don't know, blind sight, blind sense, tremor sense, like shit like that.
yes.
One of my
Also,
most
another way you can do.
builds- Go ahead.
Oh.
You first.
All right. You can also just like go and say that you can't hide like in this direction. Like say they're looking in one direction. Like you can't always sneak up on them basically. So you do have to be a bit careful with that. Or there's often like just a.
Unless you take something that gives you class feature height in plain sight.
That
Yes,
is
but
not available to low level character.
yeah, like that would show up later. At which point they'll likely have supernatural senses that make it a lot harder to sneak past them. But yes, I get what you mean. Basically, no hyper specialization is, I think, what you're trying to say. No, like putting all your points into something and like focusing so hard on that you're just like break the system, so to say.
Yeah.
Don't make my overpower level 1 Kitsune. Got it.
Okay, that was for
They can
skills.
turn into anyone.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, still regarding characters, but this is mostly like plot setting wise. Obviously, the gift that is given, not everyone can get it. And while I would see a potential for interesting like character development and whatnot if like we had some sleeper agent, double agent shenanigans. However, because the gift is given by the guild that is experienced, that has existed for a long time, and they perfected the procedure, and basically what I'm saying is that while the guild accepts evil alignments, mostly like lawful evil, you probably might have a chance to meet an NPC that's a member of the guild, and that's lawful evil, assassin catfolk. But the guild definitely tests their members before they receive this blessing, because the potential to cause havoc if they turn evil or if they betray the guild is like too potent to not be sure. So because of how the guild operates, sadly, any like traitors, sleeper agents, stuff just will not be possible for your characters.
Well, the idea I'd have with my goblin was that it wouldn't really be him that made the like recommendation, but really his teacher, who happened to die during that last mission to get the thing, but succeeding through his death. Would that something like that work? Obviously, details are up for you. Mm-hmm.
I mean, as long as the character, because essentially during this frame, I definitely should aim towards making characters that they might have some. I won't say no to having some resentment or doubts about their decisions, but when they make that decision, they like ultimately they stick to it.
Oh no, it's not about it's not doubting the decision. I'm just saying that the people, giving him the decision might be doubting him. Basically.
I mean, if there was doubt on either side, they probably would not go through with that. Because the certainty has to be like there, because immortality, I mean, some see as a curse, but coupled with the prowess that you can achieve, the cabinet has to be certain on both sides.
Yes. Yeah. I get what you mean, and if that's what you want, that's all right. The idea I had would basically be that my goblin's teacher essentially accomplished some truly remarkable task, and the idea was that they were promising him like immortality if he succeeded. But as he died, and my goblin arrived with the proof of succeeding, pretending to be the guy who actually did it, something along the lines of that. As he is basically taking his teacher's place, trying to live up to his legacy.
Okay. Maybe some of those who tested might have seen through that slight the deception, but they might have seen it as actually as a plus, not as a detriment.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think I will be fine with the idea. And to continue with like the loyalty and betrayal stuff. I think it was the same with the last campaign. Your characters don't have to like each other, but you work together. And I do not presume. I do not have any PvP in mind, to be honest. So essentially, I just want to avoid situation like when you make characters, make them in a way that to prevent situation when like we play this campaign and suddenly like the question comes up like, okay, so why am I with you at all? I hope you know what I mean by that.
Yep, pretty much a means to an end.
And also to continue on that a little bit on that NPC thing is that while NPCs, like it will be possible to have NPCs as a resource to use them, I would definitely want to avoid using them as a crutch. So obviously the expedition will have like higher level NPCs, some like old generation of Eternals, basically those who have Eternal template, but the old version that prevents them from like improving themselves and gaining levels. So obviously they are strong, but the situation, without spoiling too much, will mean that they will also have things to do. So if ever a question comes up, okay, so why don't you do that if you are like stronger, have more levels than us, is because, well, I have other things to do. And this expedition is also a chance for your characters to prove yourselves, to test your mettle, and like what Jules says, like live up to legacy or live up to the expectations. So basically, do not try to not see NPCs as a crutch or as a solution to your problems. And also, one more thing regarding the fact that obviously higher level NPCs means they traveled for a long, they had adventures, which means they have gear. Often in like quite absurd like gold 12 level. Do not fucking steal from allied NPCs. I know this will be tempting to like, oh, they have like a good gear and this might be like a good way to essentially like get better stuff very quickly. Like there is like in-universe explanation for that, but just for you to as a players, don't use allied NPCs loot as a.
I think you can just say like, if you're very generally good, like I don't think we're gonna go around stealing, beating up your NPCs and just like killing them for their loot or whatever. Like,
this is all generic stuff. I figured was like obvious, anyways.
I wanted to be completely sure.
Yes, I can get that, but I can tell that we haven't really been doing this in these sort of campaigns we have, which is why we have this session -1 to figure out where we are. So I don't think you need to worry too much about us like bullying your NPCs or trying to steal their stuff and forcing these sort of things. Like, yeah, I don't think you need to worry too much about that.
Especially since like fluff-wise in universe, it's a big no-no to basically steal from fellow guild members.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable thing to say. Like,
so, quick question. You said that we get a free rank on every knowledge check.
Yep.
Does that mean every knowledge check is a class skill, or is it just like regular class?
No. It doesn't give you a class skill. It just means you have like a free rank 1 knowledge, free rank 1 in that knowledge skill. Because the assumption is that because as the horizons expanded, the guild continued to exist for longer. It made sense for them to provide at the very least a basic education for their guild members.
We're smart adventurers.
They might not know everything, and maybe if their role is bad, we might say that, oh, you probably slept or missed that class. But yeah, they try to prepare their guild members a little bit better. And I think, let me look for that handout I wrote. I talk about that. Okay, so from like the things that I wanted to say, what I wish to avoid, I think that were the most important points I wanted to make. So now we have like more questions, or if there are like certain things that we need to discuss, and go ahead. So to be fair, I'm not exactly sure what I should elaborate on right now, apart from the stuff that I already wrote about.
First and foremost, do you have any time schedule on when you want to start this campaign? Because I'd say the sooner the better, because inertia kills a lot of campaigns.
I know. To be fair, when I think, I mean, next week not really, because Simon can't make it.
And because it's Mother's Day, and
and we still have to account for Donut coming in, so probably there'll also be like a few minutes to like get him up to speed.
But like,
so I think we can set like, I don't know if this will be session 0, like session like 0.5, or we'll see. But we can say like in 2 weeks, like the Sunday after that.
So session 0 in 2 weeks. We come there, finish making our characters, figure out where we're in the party, and maybe you have something prepared, maybe not, but we like get our characters ready. Does that sound reasonable?
Yeah.
So yeah. I suppose we could go through the drafts we have of our character to see if you're all right with it. Does anyone want to go, or should I start?
Oh, but by
No.
the way, just one thing about characters. Uh, essentially, as I wrote, I'm fine if you want to use Mythweavers or some other site for character sheets, or even if you want to use Roll20. Just I made the handouts just in case because you also must like upload your character picture if you will want. But yeah,
Oh
I'm
yeah.
fine with whatever site you will be using as long as we can access that and like see the character.
Oh yeah. Actually, I'm not sure if it's possible, but could you switch to the other Pathfinder character sheets? It's a bit better. It's a fair bit better
Pathfinder
than these
community
ones.
sheet.
Yeah, it's a lot better than these.
What now?
You're currently using Pathfinder, I think Roll20. There's a Pathfinder community sheets, which has much better character sheets.
Okay, give me one because I will have to like exit and then
Yes.
settings.
And that means I have to
game settings.
redo my sheet then.
Yeah.
It should transfer over a lot of the stuff.
Okay.
So is it called Pathfinder community?
Yes.
Okay. Should I because I default sheet settings and should I change something there? Because I have no clue if I should. I don't think I should change anything.
No, I don't think so. Like, just switch to the community sheets and then save.
Okay, save changes. Okay, it's changed.
Okay.
I think.
All right. Let me try joining again and see if it's different.
So, for fuck's sake. Because I'm not sure if it saved it actually.
All right.
No,
if you're on,
it did save them.
Okay. Join the thing and let me check. Actually, let me check if it already changed anything. Character sheet. Yes, there we go. It's the new one. Or the better one, really.
Yeah, I'm not like insistent on Roll20 because I'm recently started playing Starfinder with the other group and I am really getting tired with the Roll20 Starfinder sheet.
This is a good sheet, though. You want to know a cool trick, Matt?
Yeah.
Make a new sheet, and then make a new character sheet and click is NPC. And then you go to the companion in the top right, and write like goblin in there. And you can like click on the bestiary and like drag it out onto your character sheet, and you have a pre-made sheet for the goblin.
Okay.
Like,
I will check that.
It's a super quick way to make enemies.
Definitely will remember that.
Are we using background skills?
What now?
Are we using background skills?
Basically, we get a couple of the skills are very rarely used. So the background skill splits them up into two categories, so that you can like put points into those skills that really come up.
Points level to put them in, and it's just basically like stuff like appraise or sleight of hand, that kind of stuff. Form.
To be fair, it's been some time since I played Pathfinder, and I wasn't aware that was the our thing.
This came out with Unchained.
No,
I think we actually used it in Eternal Wanderers when Unchained came out.
We did?
Yeah.
It was a while ago, but
adventure experience and background skills. I mean, sure.
Okay. There's a button to press for it in this one, so it's pretty easy to change. Where was it again?
In the game settings, or?
No. In our sheets, we can click on use as like background skill, if I remember correctly.
It's under rule options and settings.
Yeah, I think I've set the sheets properly, so we should be able to edit them and see them in journal.
Yeah, it works for me at least. Where was it? Where was the Setting for the background skills. Do you guys
It's
remember?
under rule option, Pathfinder Unchained,
Settings, rule option, Pathfinder
and enable
Unchained.
Unchained skills.
Yeah, display enable Unchained skills.
Oh, unchained skill. Okay. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, one more thing. Have you heard of the elephant in the room, Matt? Pathfinder?
Yes,
elephant in
that-
the room thing. Mm.
In context of the Pathfinder, no, not really.
It's basically a rule set that like eliminates a lot of the feat taxes. Feats you only take because they lead to feats you actually want. Give me a second and I'll link it to you. Mhm.
Yeah, I will not lie, I haven't really kept track of Pathfinder
No,
stuff
that's understandable.
over the years.
That's
I got it.
perfectly understandable. Okay.
And I'm also
Okay.
pretty sure I've missed a lot of rules when we played the first campaign at all, so...
I mean, I'm pretty sure I used 2 swift actions and now Esoterus, so yeah, probably. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mhm.
what does it do?
Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
Okay, give me a moment because I see this is like quite a large, long
Yes.
page.
Basically, you can, if you scroll down, you see like all the things in like highlighted, like weapon finesse, martial mastery, and so on, are like removed, and everyone gets them for free, basically. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
No wait, sorry, that's comments. So
Mhm.
it's not that long, thankfully.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's comments. Okay. Okay, it's not like I would be against that for PCs, but oh my god, because if I make like a not basic, but if I like actually work on PC Gen, because I'm using PC Gen to like craft certain NPCs.
I mean,
like,
don't worry about it for NPCs. Like, use
you,
the
you
rules
do you for NPCs.
Yeah.
yeah, I
Like, I don't
probably would not be using that for NPCs because
like.
that would...
I don't think I would mind if you gave an NPC 50 feats. Like, NPCs are your domain, so to say.
Yeah,
Mm. Mm.
Yeah, I'm
like
looking for
I've given an NPC the dimensional agility line of feats to make a more interesting fight, and he just had them for free.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. By the way, I assume you have already played with that rule set in your campaigns, or not really?
I think I played one, or did we, Zach? I think it's most.
I haven't used them because with the new people joining, I didn't want to throw
Mm-hmm.
like,
Yeah.
hey, you have to follow these rules, but you also have to look at this document here to follow these rules because it's being
Mhm.
changed, kind of thing. But
Yeah.
everyone that's playing is experienced enough to.
Yeah, I don't think I. Since the Kingmaker campaign, I didn't really play Pathfinder for a while, so I never had really chance to use them.
Essentially,
Mhm.
why I asked is that I wanted to like, out of curiosity, ask like if someone actually played with them and can like confirm through experience that it actually made the Pathfinder experience better.
I mean, it's effectively for martials, because mages.
Yeah, I don't
normally
really see
take those
anything
feats.
regarding like mage
But like,
feats.
it's basically like so. Like it says, so like, say you want to shoot a bow effectively in Pathfinder.
Yeah, I know, point blank, and then just this entire like line of feats.
And so,
Mhm.
like, so instead of having to take the entire line of feats, you can take a couple feats that this boils it down to, and then
Mhm.
take other, honestly, more interesting feats.
Yeah. And there's a reason why every single fighter has power attack in their build. Mhm.
Yeah, because it's like improves your damage because at some point you just need to.
Mhm.
Okay.
Now instead
that's
of power attack, you could take something else that's more interesting, like dazzling display.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
Mhm. All right. So maybe write that down somewhere, but I'll remember it at least. Mhm. Mhm.
And if it helps, it was written by another Matthew.
Matt,
Third Matthew.
Matt, are you forgetting your own work again?
No.
Obviously, every Matt in existence is the same Matt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
So you say, so
I
is it like the Josh fight?
No, I know I joke about that because some time ago I linked to Zach this thing that somebody at university sent an email to all Zachs on that university, I think. Okay. Elephant in the room. Feed taxes. Okay. Being used.
Especially since we're using Path of War, like all of us are probably going to be some flavor of Marshall.
Mhm.
So, did we? So this is session -1. Are we going to decide hit point distribution on session 0?
Oh.
The thing about those decisions, I'm not sure how comfortable I am doing those without Donut's input because I would feel I don't know how about you guys. Because you played in that group for longer. Uh, I'm not sure if he would be fine if you decided that without him or not. I just don't know. Just saying.
He'd probably just roll with it.
Yeah, most likely. Like I
Like,
don't think he minds too much about hit points, so to say.
I've already sent him a summary of everything that you said you didn't want, and like he doesn't do those things anyways. So
Mhm.
like, for a generic overview of what his characters are usually like, have you ever watched Berserk?
Yeah. I mean,
His
watched.
character is
I read
basically
manga.
always guts,
Mhm.
Oh my god.
and these guys can tell you I'm exaggerating somewhat, but not a lot. It's usually big guy in big armor with a big sword, and he's
Uh-huh.
kind of always dark and moody.
Yep. Like
He doesn't. He prefers swordsmen over magicians. Let's just go with that.
But
I mean,
he's always a good aligned character and does the
Uh,
good thing.
To be fair, during most of my years of Pathfinder when I played as a PC, not Dungeon Master, I'm not gonna lie, Barbarian was my thing.
hell yeah. Oh dear.
Not spellcasters, but I had this niche even if I started playing like Dungeon World, like basically other systems than D&D. I usually went for warriors slash barbarians, like basically big fucking guys that can wreck shit in like through combat, not through magic.
Hell
So,
yeah. More martial.
If I recall Dungeon World, that's the one where everyone, like, you are the class. Like, if you are the wizard, you are the wizard.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah, I played a druid in that one. That
yeah.
was fun.
Yeah,
See,
that's
I'm gonna turn
essentially
into a
fair because it might be said that there might be other like a wizard somewhere else, but you are the wizard. Yes,
yes.
that's fair, like a good summary.
That's a fun system. It's a lot more narrative, especially if you play some of the more casters. Like,
Yeah, it's powered by the Apocalypse engine, so that's definitely more narrative and less
any case.
less meaty than Dungeons and Dragons, Pathfinder, and all that stuff. I mean, if you are fine, we can go through those things and decide, for example, regarding hit points.
I think it's a good question. Like, do you want to take half, roll, maximum? I think those are basically the options.
Yeah, I think those are
Minimum.
like the pretty usual, and I think that was mostly a question for you, I guess, because obviously.
I say we go with the regular. That we go with the full hit points on the first level, maybe
mean-
the first 2 levels, and then
I
we
mean-
start to roll
Base
for them.
Pathfinder is full on the first and then roll.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you want to do roll, let's just say like roll. I mean, Zach does roll, and if you roll like below half, take half. At least in your
Yeah,
last one.
I'm fine with that.
And the one I do is roll, and if you roll a natural one, re-roll. But yeah, it's up. I mean, it's kind of up to you. Like,
Just, it's not fun to get 1 HP.
Yeah,
no,
I know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're fine with that, I would be fine with maximum hit points on level 1, and then roll for other levels. And if you roll below half, take half.
Okay. All right. Sounds
Yep.
good. Yeah, just write that down so we remember it till we make our characters proper, and I think that's good.
So now I have a question, because I know what character I was planning on making, but now that I think about it, we should probably have at least one caster.
No, screw
And-
casters, Zach.
No caster.
Hands off the casters.
mean- I was probably the closest already being a kineticist.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Path of
because
War fucking kineticist.
you already know my two options I got going in my head.
I actually forgot what they were.
Scammed. Mm-hmm.
No, but I mean, I was the closest because I shot fucking light beams out of my hands. But you know, so my idea, which probably would not go along great with the guild and how you thought it, was a goblin who himself is neutral evil, but he is so incompetent at being evil that he does good actions and is seen as a good person.
Mm,
But like would technically still detect as evil.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
It's the
on one hand, as I mentioned before, it's not like there are no evil aligned characters in the guild. There are, but with the understanding that they are a member of the guild with everything that it entails.
But like an example would be like saving a kidnapped kid and trying to sell him back to his parents and forgetting to take the payment. So like people just trying to think he's like trying to be mean, but he's actually nice. No, you just fucking forgot to grab the bag of money.
By the way, I need to like ask. I mean, were you serious regarding being goblins?
I managed. All right, go ahead, Zach. Go
I
ahead.
mean, I was gonna say, to be fair, the first round was pirates.
Yeah. Like, I don't know how we ended up with so many people, but I was gonna be a goblin. Zach was gonna be a goblin. I think you were. Sinful was gonna be a goblin as well, and Donut ended up being a hobgoblin. Like, this is why I wanted the session -1, because we were making actual goblin characters, and I wanted to see if you were okay with it. Like,
I mean, I'm still making a Tengu character.
you're an honorary goblin in our hearts. All right.
I mean, ultimately, those are your characters if they can be fit in the concept of the campaign and the guilds. I think I fine. I just like was curious because I thought you would go for like more not disparagement, but more variety. But if you want to go for mostly goblin team, however, maybe Donut won't be a goblin because he will be making like a big guy with a armor and sword.
Hobgoblin in a big armor and a sword.
Or you want to know what my idea was, Julius?
All right, go ahead.
A goblin flesh eater that uses cooking tools.
All right, him.
Oh no.
Soupy? We're getting Soupy back?
Basically yes, but he's a barbarian flesh eater.